So in today's live stream, we're going to be chatting about big changes and even bigger stakes. So a ransomware group that we mentioned a couple of weeks back is actually auctioning off $1.6 million worth of Columbus's government data on the dark web even. So, and then we're also going to tell you what this means for your security. Plus, the Ohio Division of Real Estate is kicked into the lawsuits that are getting ready to happen starting Friday. Or not the lawsuits, but the pending changes happening Friday. And then we're also going to go over what's coming up and things to do in this week's live stream. So stay tuned. Good morning, gentlemen. How you get, or good evening rather. How you guys doing today?
Time zone you in.
Yeah. How are we doing today, bud?
Doing good. Have a little jet lag. Got back from Scotland yesterday afternoon, and my system's all messed up. So
I don't feel sorry for you in the least.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for you either, man. You know, you got to go on a little vacation, got to play some top tier golf. You know, like it's hard to feel sorry for a guy like you.
Yeah, sleep schedule's off, and my kids were level 10 when I got home, and it's like you just get splashed in the face and you're back into reality. So
that's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to get right into our top story. So a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned that Columbus got hacked, and it was a big deal, and they thought they stopped quite a bit of it. But in our show tonight, we're going to kind of go over what's the newest drama in that saga. So Brad, why don't you lead us off, bud?
Yeah. So like you said a few weeks ago, Oliver actually kind of led this topic that the city of Columbus had been hit with, a cyber attack, and the word had come out that they had shut it down pretty quick, and they didn't think they, were able to get much, if anything, and it kind of come out now that that's not true. In fact, this ransomware group, who they believe is overseas, is claiming, and I think it's pretty, I guess it's been pretty solidified, that they took around 6.5 terabytes of information. And I had to, not gonna lie, I had to look up how big a terabyte is, because I wasn't sure if that's like a lot or a little, but I would say it's a good sizable amount of data that was stolen.
To give you perspective, a megabyte equates to 1 million megabytes equals to roughly 1 terabyte.
Right. So I think they got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about this is they actually have identified the ransom group, because now the ransomware group is basically saying they can auction off the data starting at either 30 Bitcoins or $1.9 million. So now you have this dilemma of not only these people have it, but like, where does this go? And, I'm sure that, Homeland Security, FBI, they're all involved, and they're probably trying to figure out how to maybe get that data back or shut it down. But at this point, I think that's probably a lost cause. I mean, these guys are obviously pretty smart. So I think it'll be it's scary to think about like how easy it was for them to do it. And then like, what's this trickle down effect going to be?
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, because is this going to open us up for more?
Yeah.
It's like the keys to the castle now.
Right, for sure. And the crazy thing is that they said in this article that there's been over 12 other government cyber attacks, across the globe by the same group. So obviously this group has identified a weakness in government systems, and they're attacking them. So, I mean, something to keep your eye on. I think it's just always a little uneasy when you hear stuff like this, because it's like, well, I'm sure they can get into our bank accounts probably pretty easy, and other information, since we hold passwords on the internet for everything.
Yeah, no kidding. So, I mean, is this just like government data, like auditor site stuff? Is it like government programs, or is this just like actual consumer, like your and my data?
So from what I can tell, it's a lot of like government, information, email, video. It looks like there are some like internal logins, as well as other emergency services records that they said.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what they have identified as the 3 or 4 things that they believe that they have. So I don't know if it's necessarily auditor stuff, but it is a lot of private information for a large number of people out there.
Well, that is unfortunate, but it doesn't make me feel any better that the FBI is involved. But it's good that they're trying to get this stuff back online. So, is there any implications for future attacks, or are they just done with this one and moving on?
I mean, I'm sure the city of Columbus is taking steps necessary, but I think we live in an age where we're not going to not hear about this again, right? Doesn't matter how good cybersecurity, software companies are. There's always going to be a smarter system, a smarter person. You have AI coming now, all these things. So, I'm sure this will continue to happen, and we'll hear about it. But hopefully, it's minimal. It's minimal damage. How about that?
Yeah, I would like to think that we're done.
Yeah, there's a silver lining to all this, though. I mean, if you guys think about it, a sophisticated international cyber gang tag Columbus, Ohio as something important. We're worth $1.9 million for some data. So, I mean, that's kind of, brush your shoulders off. Like, they're not just picking over any city. I mean, I guess we're on, we've made it. Like, we're targets for cybercrime now.
Well, and I think also too is this isn't like a political statement, but like if you watched anything about X or Twitter Live or X Live the other night when Elon and Trump was on, they got attacked. People couldn't get on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people couldn't get on for like 45 minutes because they got attacked by a cyber type of thing. So, I feel like if it can happen to X and the smartest, potentially smartest man in the world. I'm sure it can happen to a lot of these municipalities pretty easily.
Yeah, a bunch of Sues and Johns who don't have much in the way of background with cybersecurity are probably not going to be real easy to push over.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes.
Yep. So Oliver, this week is a big week. We're actually T-minus 2 days until we have one of the bigger changes that's going to be happening in real estate. So what is the state of Ohio? Because we're hearing about this on a national level, but what does the state of Ohio have to say about all the NAR real estate agent stuff?
Well, they're being proactive. I mean, the Division of Real Estate is mandated that we, already start, requiring these buyer representation agreements that are going to be the new standard going forward. So no longer are the days where you call, a realtor, a friend who is a realtor, go check out a house. You have to get these buyer representation agreements, signed upfront, and they dictate, what kind of compensation for you to make an offer on such and such house that you're going to go see. And as like any contract goes, they're going to be bound to having, a term of, terms and conditions of how long that agreement is going to be good for. So it might be good for a week, might be good for 30 days, might be good for a year. That's between you and the agent that you're going to go see a house with. But there's a lot of, fallout that's going to happen with all of this. And I'm seeing so much of the, national media covering this, and, most of them get it wrong. I read so many of these articles and hear so many of these talking heads talking about this, and they think this is all great news for the industry and for the consumers and sellers, and it's going to be a new way of doing business. But there's just unintended consequences that we're already seeing crack, and it's going to be a while before the dust settles that we're going to really know what is going to be the new normal. But I just think it makes the process that much more complicated, for the average person, because most people, I mean, they might have heard about this news, but a lot of my friends, they have really no idea what it really entails. And then when they start asking me questions, they're like, oh, I didn't know it was like that. Oh, it's like that. And I just see so many ways where it doesn't benefit them. So I pulled up a CNN article today, and before we get to that, the Ohio Division of Real Estate is offering a free resource for people to go online. It's kind of a Q&A forum. So as you start navigating this process, you can go to this Q&A forum. The Division of Real Estate is offering, residents in the state of Ohio, just so you can get some basic questions out of the way, in case you're just wondering how all of this is going to work.
Yeah. So I did actually just drop that link in the chat. So if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this in the replay, go to the chat to see the article that we have on screen right now. So you said that there's something else that CNN's doing?
No, I just was going through some of the headlines today, and when I came across the one in CNN, a lot of it, I mean, I had to laugh at it, but it like makes me angry because it's like a lot of misinformation. And it's just, I get these are journalists who probably don't know all the nuances to the industry, and they're just, having to come up with some content to make an article about it. But when I was reading through it, I mean, I could just rip it apart. For every paragraph, they were getting it wrong and, misinterpreting what things meant. And again, they have a pretty broad reach. So a lot of people read this kind of thing and, they just get misinformation. So I just can't encourage you enough, if you're out there and you're thinking about buying or selling a home, in the next 12 months, get really ahead of the process and definitely talk to some agents. And every agent, honestly, is going to have to operate really different going forward. So, if you're going to be working with somebody, you're going to go buy a home, it's really incumbent on you now to at least interview a couple different agents, because,
Right.
you're going to be on the hook for their compensation. We still have the ability to, try to negotiate with sellers to get compensation. But if that doesn't come to fruition and you still want the house, it might have to come directly out of your pocket. And every agent is going to have a different value stack of services that they offer, different levels of experience. So, it's really important to pick the right agent to navigate all of this, because it's going to make even the communication between agents is going to change. And it is going to be really, really important that you have somebody who is really good at communication, because if you don't, it's going to be that much harder to get a keys to a new home.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that this is what we're talking about tonight. I was just on a walk with my daughter and my wife earlier, and a guy down the street, he's an older guy, stopped me. Paige had to go to a meeting, so she left, and he was like, "All right," he was like, "Explain to me what's going to happen this week." And he's like, "Because this is what I've heard," and what he has heard was like way opposite of what is really happening. And I was like, I just was curious. I was like, "Well, where did you hear that from?" He's like, "Oh, my son's, I think it was like his son's wife's friend who sells real estate part time." And so I took 10 minutes, talked to him about it, and he's like, "See," he's like, that's the difference between a professional and a hobbyist. And he goes, "I was in banking forever, and when things change, regulations change, you adapt, and the ones that are really good will stick around, and the ones that aren't, they'll leave." So I just think it's funny how like a guy like that, very intelligent dude, very smart, he didn't even have the right information. So I think what we're going to have to do a good job of is just educating people and being really even better at our jobs than what we already are right now, which I think is great. So I'm excited for it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a calling of the herd. I think 50% of agents across the country is like 1.5 million realtors, and half of them only sell one house or less a year. So that inexperience really comes at the detriment to you, the consumer. And so I think some of this is good, because it definitely puts a higher professional standard in place in the industry. If you really want to survive, there's going to be a mass exodus of agents as compensation gets suppressed. Data is already coming out for 2024, and our commissions are going down. So a lot of people are already having a tough time surviving in this industry, and it's going to be that much harder going forward. So yes, people are going to be getting out. It definitely makes agents like you and I, Brad, as you know, re-examine, what we offer and getting better at our skills, so we can, take on more clients, because we're going to have to. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take on more clients, because we're going to be making less money in order to keep up the standard of expenses that, we run our businesses with. And I think it's kind of infuriating to me sometimes when I read these articles, and they talk about they just minimize what we do, and I read it in the comment sections, and maybe I should turn those off. And people, I think, are pretty sometimes ignorant to, not saying in a bad way, they just don't see the inner workings of what we have to do to operate. Because I don't think there's been a vacation, even though, hey, it was fun to be in Scotland, but I worked the entire vacation. And I think, anytime we want to go and turn it off. We don't have the ability to turn it off. And that's okay. That's what we signed up for. And we're happy to serve and do that. But at some point, I wish the narrative would change sometimes about what it is that we actually sacrifice and do for our clients. And I think a lot of our clients are very grateful. They sometimes get through the process, and, you know, my biggest compliment is like, I could never do what you do. You know, I was like, yeah, it's not easy. But
well, I got to tell you that I have one that's actually actively closing right now. And there were no title agents involved at all. Or, no, not title, but there's no real estate agents involved at all. So as a lender, and if you guys don't know, I'm not a real estate agent, I'm a lender, and I cannot legally help negotiate or give advice on contracts at all. So with this one, it was a wholesaler who is typically a professional, and then the client. So the client ended up negotiating most of the deal herself. And then the terms kept changing. Like even after we were approved, ready to go, there were still changing contract items, and they didn't want to use the normal traditional Columbus Board of Realtors contract, which ended up becoming more of an issue as we went along. So I think we went through like 3 different contracts to find the one that the buyer was actually happy with. Delayed closing, and really caused a lot of turmoil along the way. So I've done deals to where I was the only pro involved besides the title company, and it's never gone well. So if you think that agents are overpaid, I could promise you that if I could have, I would have paid for a real estate agent for them for this deal, because it was not good all the way through. So the amount of heartache, and potentially money lost in legal issues after the fact, if there was no agent involved, get yourself an agent. It's worth the money. And no, it may not seem like it, but then you got to find a different agent who can really show you their value, like Oliver said, and make sure that you are protected, because this is not, you're not buying hot dogs or shoes. You're buying a house, and there's legal ramifications if it goes wrong.
There's big, you know, I have a friend right now who I've served for 10 years, and he did an off-market transaction. And so he didn't pull me in. There was an attorney on the other side of this deal working, and, you know, performing title and doing everything. Well, come to find out, because there was no agent involved, there was big mistakes in the title process, and then there became fraud, and he's out a lot of money and now in the middle of a big lawsuit. And and I wouldn't wish this upon anybody, because it's really painful, and, you know, he's damaged. And he's a sophisticated buyer. He's worked with me for 10 years, but he felt comfortable, you know, working through an attorney, getting this done. It's between 2 people that he knows. And when money's involved, things can go sideways really quick. And so, yeah, I just caution treading without, you know, trying to represent yourself in these things, because, you know, Brad, you can attest to this. No 2 deals are the same. I call it having to do a lot of surgery. There's deals that get very, very complicated very quick. And one thing I know about real estate is everybody wants to have their cake and eat it too. So it is a highly emotional process, but mistakes do happen, and people get greedy. There's fraud, there's mistakes that happen. And without the necessary experience, I just see this happen. I mean, again, I read other things that they're like, well, you know, the real estate agents are going to go the way of travel agents. So I'm like, good luck. Because if that were to happen, attorneys will be very, very busy.
Well, here's the thing, though. I've heard people say, well, I'll just go to an attorney and I'll get it done. Okay, great. Well, is that attorney going to show you the house? Is that attorney going to not charge you every time that a counter offer needs to be done, an addendum needs to be done? You know, and then if they do, well, they know that, hey, this person needs me. Do you think their pricing is not going to change? Yeah. You know, like, I mean, these lawyers, they're not stupid. They run a business as well, right? If their services come into play more, they're not going to be like, hey, I'll do that for $250 for that document. That's not going to happen. I mean,
and as you know, Brad, like most of real estate transactions, time is always of the essence, and we don't have like business hours. I mean, things are getting done at late hours of the night. Because
dude, how many times have you showed a house and then sat in your car and wrote the offer? because it has to get done.
Has to begin it.
Right?
They're
And
calling
these
for
attorneys,
highest and best. You just saw it. The listing agent calls you. It's like, we need to offer in an hour. And, you're just scrambling to get something over to them. And, I can't tell you how many times. And then you've got other phone calls and texts coming in, 'cause there's other deals going on behind the scenes too. And people need their attention. So you get home and you put that aside, and then you've got 3 more lined up, and you can't say no. Can't turn it off. You have to see it through.
So a real quick poll. How many date nights, family dinners, family vacations have been ruined because of being available for your client?
Countless.
I remember negotiating a deal in the line at Animal Kingdom to go into A Bug's Life, and my wife is just giving me the cross eye that we're waiting to go in until I can finish getting this pre-approval put over. But you don't get that from attorneys. You're not going to get that from someone who gets paid $500 for a transaction.
No, you're not. And here's the thing too is, I think what we're going to have to do is show the other side of real estate that people don't see a little bit more. Or we're going to have to explain when we're meeting with buyers, this is how deals get done, and this is what I will do for you, and map out, what you're doing behind the scenes. My wife actually went so far, because she's in real estate as well, guys, if you don't know, but she actually developed a kind of like a sheet, and she's going to track everything that she does for that client.
Yeah.
Like a lawyer does, right? Every email, every call, every text, every showing, every offer written, she's going to track it. And then what she's going to do is, throughout the process, she is going to send it to them as a way of, hey guys, like, here's an update of what's been going on over the last 3 weeks of our time together. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. She's going to try it out. But
I absolutely love the idea.
Yeah.
To track all of that. Yeah. Because there's days where I get home and sometimes show my wife, there's over 100 some phone calls, like every 5 minutes throughout the day. There's a phone call in and out, in and out. And as you're on one, there's 2 more coming in, hang up, and then you're just on that cycle all day long. It makes the day go by really fast, but I think we live on that adrenaline.
I do, for sure.
I thrive off that stuff. I don't like being idle, but it creates a lot of stress because, like you said, Ryan, it's like when you sometimes want to go do something with the family and, you're standing in line and you want to be present with them. And then it takes that one phone call for something to blow up and it needs your immediate attention, and you have no choice. I think my friends, I feel bad. I think sometimes I go, when I see a lot of my friends, they're like, Oliver, you're always on your phone. Just put your phone down. Stop. And I don't think they get it sometimes that I can't. I can't just put it down.
Yep.
And maybe I could. I have a business coach, and we talk ways through this and how to leverage and do things. But end of the day, my reputation's on the line. My income's on the line. My clients, their money's on the line. So can't turn it off. And that's okay. It's okay. I'm not here crying about it because, I'd go do something else. But again, it just goes back to that narrative when I read things like I read today, and, they're just saying that how easy it is to do our job. I'm like, oh, okay, you're right. Yeah.
But these are also the guys that are criticizing LeBron James post game, or people at the Olympics that they could have done better themselves if they were there. So these are people that are not in the trenches and haven't lived this. It's a lifestyle. It's not a job. I mean, for some people it's a job, but for the ones that do it well, it's a lifestyle.
I just had we can wrap up if we need to, but I just had I'm selling a house in Lewis Center. Older couple, great people, and we accepted a curb offer. And we took the risk because there was 2 houses in the neighborhood that weren't moving. It's cash, but it had some contingencies to it, inspection, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this deal was going south for a while when we got into it, right? Like the request to remedy was like 19 lines long. My client's original owner, he takes it as an insult. He's pissed, all these things are going on. And, we were able to, get everybody calmed down and, we're good to go. But, the other day, his wife told me, she goes, like, I work part-time, retired. I think I'm gonna get my real estate license because it just seems, I feel like I can make faster money doing what you do than at my part-time job. And I'm like,
Ouch.
what? Did you not just follow along what the last 3 days have been? Did you just not, do you think that was all easy?
Well, it's just because you made it look easy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's just like, they're great people. Like they're gonna be great
That was
clients.
that was the COVID effect, though, and interest rates were low, and all of this
Yeah.
activity in the market. I think people, who are looking for extra income at that time, they naturally just said, well, what's this real estate thing all about? And we've had such a low barrier of entry for so long. That's the one biggest problem with the industry was, I think, taking some classes for a couple weeks and then be able to take a national and state exam, and then they hand you a license. And I was like, that's just insane to me when I really think about what we handle and how easy that is to get in the business. But people just look at the commission dollars, and they don't know. I don't think they understand that you do run a business and how much expenses that you have to pay to play to do this thing.
Yeah,
there is some overhead. All right, so we're going to pivot to some light and fluffy stuff. So for the culture segment of our show tonight, we're just going to kind of highlight what is coming this weekend. So have a couple things that are going on around town. Nothing major like the Dublin Irish Festival or something like that. But we had Blink-182 that was in town yesterday, the day before. So I saw some screenshots, some pictures, some live streams from that. It looked like a really good show, and it really makes me feel really old that Blink-182 looks as old as they do.
Yep.
Oh man, I would have gone to that.
Some throwback jams right there.
That's right. So speaking of which, Sublime is actually coming to town. So Sublime and OAR, everyone's favorite college bands, Sublime is actually coming to town this weekend. So if you wanted to catch them, that should be a pretty decent show. Looks like the tickets are evenly priced, and it's actually at Kimball Live, which is one of my favorite venues. I was actually looking at putting on an event there myself. So
Sublime, did they do the song Santeria?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just popped in my head.
Another one, once again, New Kids on the Block are on their third farewell tour. So they'll be in town before the end of next week. So this one's a little bit premature. But Paula Abdul and DJ Jazzy Jeff,
they need to rebrand Old Kids on the Block.
Hey, I could get down with this concert, though. I could go to this. So this would be good.
Shouldn't be bad. But I know there's going to be a bunch of 40-ish-year-old women who are going to be there, probably buying up all the tickets.
How much are those tickets going for?
Let me see here.
Probably like 25 to 50.
Right behind your info box there. Yeah, they are.
Ooh, VIP for like 300.
Yeah, that's a deal. It
So
costs
those
$350
are 20.
nosebleeds at an Adele concert. So
So anywhere between 20 to 100. So not horrible. And I don't know if you guys know much about Donald Glover, young Donald Glover Jr., Childish Gambino. If you've actually ever seen him perform, he's actually really, really entertaining and a good musician on top of being a good actor too. So he'll be in town here soon. And last one, something for the kiddies. We're quickly approaching Zoo Lights again. It's hard to believe it, but we're approaching Zoo Lights. So something they're doing as kind of a prequel to Zoo Lights this year is Columbus Lantern Festival. Have you guys ever been to this before?
Have not.
No, but I heard about it. Is it the Chinese lantern?
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So it's going
Maybe
on.
Maybe I can sneak there before the new baby.
Was it always at? Yeah. Was it always at the Columbus Zoo?
That part I don't know.
Okay. I just have it in my head. There used to be a big, Chinese lantern like lights festival thing, and I don't know if that's the zoo thing or not, but this one is.
Yeah, this one definitely is, and it's going to go all the way to the end of September. So right before Zoo Lights kick in. So this would be a nice little ad. With the temperature starting to drop outside, it might be nice to go out and enjoy some crisp air before it gets too cold.
No doubt.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Yeah. All right, so go out, explore Columbus. If you have something that you want to cover as far as real estate stuff or what's going on around town or national news, just let us know. We'll be happy to bring it up here and give you our opinion, because I know that's what you really want, is you want our opinion on what's going on. So, but I tell you, my favorite thing out of the show tonight is Oliver's brand new beard. I am so proud of you for doing this.
Let's
Came
go,
back from
man.
vacation, souvenir and all.
I tell you what, I was this close to shaving before I came on air because I never grow it out like this. But it's kind of a vacation beard, so
Grow it out, man. Let's go.
oh, dude, it's
out.
too thin. I don't have a good beard.
No, see, what you need is now you need some New Balances, some khaki cargo shorts, and then the beard just kind of completes the look.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's the whole kit. I'm
The
sure
whole
you
kit,
can
the
find.
dad kit.
Yeah,
Be ready.
Dad
Be
kit.
ready to roll, man. Dad kit.
Yeah. I'll get it
All
on
right, gentlemen,
Amazon and head up to the Lights Festival.
Are you going to ComFest this weekend? Is that why the beard's coming in?
Oh, is that? I thought they already had that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I jest.
yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys. Any final thoughts before we sign off for the week?
Buckeye football, 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
excited.
August 31st.
Yeah,
It's
so
the Zips at home.
Well,
It's
that
good.
should be a good scrimmage, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a good in-state scrimmage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But a higher teams always find a way to make it interesting against the Buckeyes. So we're not going to put down the Zips because, I mean, OU almost came in here 1 year, almost got us.
Yep.
Cincinnati's almost gotten us before. But we have a really special team this year. So I'm really excited to see what we are made of this year, especially after Michigan and their whole saga. Well, that's for another episode. But yeah, I want to stick it to them this year, and we've been cheated a little bit, I feel like, and it's our turn. And Will Howard is going to be the new leader at quarterback, so we'll see what happens, guys.
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll be back here 7:30 next Wednesday. So make sure to tune in on your favorite social media app. Make sure to communicate with us, because we had people watching, but they wanted to be lurkers instead of actually joining the conversation. So we'll see you guys next week. What was that?
They're eating dinner.
Yeah, they're eating dinner or they're pooping, one of the two. All right, well, we will see you guys next week on that note.
See ya.
See you guys.
See ya.